Okay, today we are going to do Daf Lamed Vav Amud Beis. We finished off yesterday speaking about the machlekes, if you could be yetzer with matzah of bikurim, and we said that matzah was mukesh to Mara, matzah was connected to Mara, just like Mara, you cannot bring bikurim from Mara, so too you cannot bring matzah from bikurim. Says the Gemara, but goes further, just finishing the last line on Lamed Vav and Daleth. Ma Mara, if you're already connecting matzah to Mara, so you're gonna have to make another connection. Ma Mara she'ein b'mina bikurim, af matzah she'ein b'mina bikurim. Just like Mara, the whole species of Mara you cannot bring bikurim from. So to matzah, you're gonna tell me now that since matzah is connected to Mara, so by matzah the whole species of ingredient that you use for matzah, you cannot bring you cannot. Just starting that base. And if so, I'm going to have to say that wheat and barley you cannot use for matzah. Because wheat and barley you can use for bikurim. So if you're connecting to matzah, we said before, just like matzah is not, you can't bring bikurim from. So to matzah has to be a matzah which you can't bring bikurim from. Says the Gemara, if it's a matzah you can't bring bikurim from, so why can you use wheat matzah and barley matzah? Barley and wheat are both ingredients, are both produce that you can bring recording from. Answers the Gemara, Tamolei Marza says in the pasuk matzah. We have a few times that Torah says the word matzah, which is extra, and it comes to teach us that even though in general we make a connection between matzah and mara, just like mara, you can't bring bikurim from, so you cannot be yetzer of matzah from bikurim, but that excludes wheat and barley, because even though wheat and barley you could bring bikurim from, we have extra word, and the pasuk teaches us that wheat and barley is okay. Says the Gemara, if so, if we have extra words in Pasuk that teach us wheat and barley is okay, why do you say the extra words in Pasuk are teaching us that wheat and barley is okay? Teach us that bikurim nami. Teach us for the whole thing that maybe you could bring even from bikurim, you could be yetzachiv matzah. Why do you say that? Since you have extra words in Pasuk, it's only teaching us a specific din that wheat and barley is okay. Maybe teaching us that the whole idea of bikurim, the whole din of bikurim, be able to use matzah from bikurim. Answers the Gemara. How did Rabbi Akiva? That Rabbi Akiva changed his mind. This is Rabbi Akiva that we said in Dona. Rabbi Akiva learns it out from Bechol, that Rabbi Akiva learns out from a connection to Mara. And therefore he has to have extra. And once he connects it to Mara, he has to have extra limit to teach us. He has to have extra limit to teach us that that wheat and barley is okay. Rabbi Akiva went back in his opinion, meaning he doesn't learn out from Mara. And therefore we won't have any questions. How do we know Rabbi Akiva went back in his opinion? Tana could learn a brayso. Says in a brayso, can a person be yetzichiv matzah from bikurim? The brayso answers, Talmud we have a pasuk that teaches us b'chol mishesechem teichel matzahs, in all your dwellings you should eat matzahs. What does that mean? Matzah nachelas b'chol mishavis. It has to be a matzah. Meaning the chiv matzah has to be able to be eaten b'chol mishavis in all your dwellings. What does that mean? Yatsu bikurim, which from here we learn out that bikurim you cannot be yetzichiv matzah, because bikurim she'ein nachal mishavis bikurim cannot only be eaten in Yerushalayim. And since bikurim can only be eaten in Yerushalayim, so therefore, from the words of b'chol meshesechem, from all your dwellings, matzah has to be able to eat in everywhere. Bikurim can only be eaten in Yerushalayim. Therefore, we don't know that we cannot be yetzichiv matzah with bikurim. Says the Gemara, says the Brayso further, Yochel shani metzi af ma'aser sheni. Maybe from that which it says in the pasuk b'chol meshesechem, and we learned that the matzah has to be eaten everywhere. Maybe I should learn from that you also cannot be yetzichiv matzah with ma'aser sheni, because ma'aser sheni can also only be eaten in Yerushalayim. Answers the Gemara, Tamolema matzah riba. We have extra words in pasuk matzah, which teach us that even though bikurim is aser, ma'aser sheni is muter. Ask the Gemara the obvious question: why did you say that the extra words to teach us is teaching us ma'aser sheni? Say the other way around. The Rabbi is ma'aser sheni or lahitzi bikurim. Why are you including ma'aser sheni instead of bikurim? Say that around. Say that the B'chol teach us ma'aser sheni is aser. Says ma'aser sheni can only be eaten in Yerushalayim. And the pasuk of and that which is extra matzah is to teach us that bikurim is mutter. Why do we say that around? Why when it comes to the pasuk it teaches that bikurim is aser, and from the extra words in pasuk we learn out that ma'aser sheni is mutter? Where do you get this proof from? Answers the Gemara, no. Ma'aser sheni is different than bikurim, because if I have extra words in pasuk, which one do I come to include? Ma'aser sheni she'ash de'het b'chol mishavis, because it doesn't. If I have a true choice, one to include, I want to say that's mutter, I would say it's ma'aser sheni. Why? because according to Rabbi Lezer, which we don't pass on, according to Rabbi Lezer, as the sheni that becomes tamei, you're able to eat everywhere, even outside Yerushalayim. But I exclude bikurim that bikurim can never be mutter be eaten in any other place. So the reason why we're saying Masechta is mutter because Masechta has a circumstance that it could be mutter outside Yerushalayim. If it becomes tamei, Shekin bikurim can never become mutter. So therefore, in Torah, if we have b'chomish yesechem teach us the bikurim is always asur from matzah, and the matzah comes to teach us that b'chomish matzah comes to teach us that Masechta is mutter from matzah. Why? Why they say that? Masechta can be. There are circumstances that it can be eaten outside Yerushalayim. How do we know? Says the Gemara for the Amar Rabbi Lezer said, how do I know that if Masechta becomes tamei, that you're able to redeem it, even in Yerushalayim, you're able to redeem it and eat it somewhere else? Says in pasuk says that if there's a situation that you cannot eat it, then you eat it outside Yerushalayim. The word seis in Torah over here means eating. How do we know? Because Shanama says in pasuk that he brought he gave him mases, and mases of that means food. So we see the kilayu chaseis. Seis is another word for eating. So when Torah says kilayu chaseis, it means if you have Masechta which you can't eat. What type of Masechta can you eat? The only case is Masechta that became tamei. And Masechta became tamei, and that's how we learn that Masechta became tamei. You can eat it outside Yerushalayim. So here we see that Masechta, there is a circumstance that Masechta can be eaten outside Yerushalayim, and therefore, if I have a choice, either to tell me the pasuk is matir bikurim for Pesach, or the pasuk matir Masechta for Pesach, so I choose to use the option of Masechta. Masechta is more lenient in this aspect that there is a situation that can be eaten outside Yerushalayim. So all this, just remember, we're trying to get back to answer. We asked the question, Rekiva, and we're answering that Rekiva changed his opinion. That Rekiva learned how that you cannot be yitzah from bikurim from Mara. And now, from this brayso, we see that Rekiva changed his mind and learns out from the word b'chomish yesechem. Let's see what the Gemara says. Who's the time that says that you're able to be yaitze through Masechta? Is it Rabbi Akiva? It's Rabbi Akiva, like we said before. And the same with Rabbi Akiva, and the same Rabbi Akiva who says that you're able to eat matzah from Masechta because it doesn't pasuk, because Masechta could be, it says in pasuk matzahs. That same Rabbi Akiva said in the beginning of the brayso that bikurim is awesome. Why is bikurim awesome? He didn't say it's awesome because it's similar to Mara. He gave a new limud. He gave a limud to say because b'chomish yesechem, the matzah has to be able to be eaten in all dwellings, in all countries, as opposed to matzah from bikurim which can only be eaten in Yerushalayim. So he doesn't learn out from Mara. He learns out from says b'chomish yesechem. So we see that Rabbi Akiva changed his mind, and instead of learning the issur of eating matzah from Masechta, instead of learning out from that which you said before, that Rabbi Akiva learned out from Mara, he learns out from b'chomish yesechem. Okay, so as we go further, we brought before an opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak says that the mocker, like we just said, that the mocker, that meiser, the mocker that matzah of bikurim, you cannot be yotze matzah from bikurim, is from b'chomish yesechem because you cannot take the matzah outside Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yitzchak really tepuk leim melachameni. Why did Rabbi Yitzchak have to find a new limud from Masechta? Why did Rabbi Yitzchak have to find a new limud from b'chomish yesechem? We already have a limud. What's the limud? The limud is tepuk leim melachameni. Why is he learn out from that which matzah is called lachameni? What does eini mean? Misha nechal beini yaltazeh shenechal b'simcha. So matzah has to be eaten away. We learn now from that which matzah is called lechem eini to teach us that matzah has to be eaten. The matzah has to be a matzah which could be eaten even when you're in aninus, even when you're in a bad state, in a depressed state, because someone was nifted and wasn't buried yet, which and we know bikurim can't be eaten when you're in a happy state. It says you have to be happy when you bikurim. So if you have to be happy when you bikurim, for the fact it doesn't tell you that matzah called lachem only means that matzah you can only use a matzah that's able to be eaten even when you're a poor man, even when you're in a depressed state. Bikurim cannot be eaten when you're in a depressed state. So why does it basically left to learn out from b'chomish yesechem? He has to deal with the lachem only. Answers the Gemara, Sava likar Rabbi Akiva. Yeah, basically holds like a Shimon side. What does Shimon say? Tanak, we're learning a brayso. Bikurim asurim leinin. Einin is also to eat bikurim. Einin, someone whose sibling passed away before they were buried, he cannot eat bikurim if he was a kohen, obviously. That's Tanakham's opinion. Shimon said it's mutter. Why does Shimon say it's mutter? Let's see. My time the Rabbanan. What's the reason of the Rabbanan? The Rabbanan said a bikurim cannot be eaten by einin. Because it says in pasuk, says in pasuk about bikurim that v'amamar trumas yedecha eilu bikurim. It says in pasuk that you cannot eat in your dwellings. Masa, the pasuk contains masa the ganfa v'sreish. And then the pasuk, the Brisa says trumas yedecha eilu bikurim. That which says in pasuk trumas yedecha is speaking about bikurim. That meaning that bikurim have to be eaten in Yerushalayim. From here we see that the fact that it sticks in the same pasuk bikurim and ma'aser. From here we see the iskash bikurim and ma'aser, that the Torah is making hakish between bikurim and ma'aser. Ma ma'aser also, and just like ma'aser, we said before that ma'aser has to be eaten dafka when you're not in a depressed state. Ma'aser cannot be eaten when someone's einin. So Rabbanan not just like ma'aser cannot be eaten when someone's einin, and so too bikurim cannot be eaten when someone's einin either. And that's what Rabbanan say, that it's also for einin to bikurim. But the Shimon says einin could be bikurim. Why? Because says the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon Truma Kari Rachmana. Torah called bikurim Truma, which means Torah wants to connect it not to Ma'aser. Torah wants to connect it to Truma. Truma ma Truma mutar, and just like Truma is mutar to einin, bikurim mutar einin. So the question is, do we compare bikurim to Ma'aser, or do we compare the bikurim to Truma? If you compare it to Ma'aser, then okay, and then einin can eat it. If you compare it to Truma, then einin could eat it. So that basically, which basically said the reason why you cannot eat matzah from bikurim is because he learns out from the pasuk of Chomesh Sechem. When we ask Nocherik, he learns out from lechem eini, which the bread has to be eaten while you're a poor man, and as opposed to bikurim, which cannot be eaten as a poor man, as a depressed man. Answers the Gemara that the contract that basically goes according to the opinion of Shimon, and Shimon holds that einin could eat bikurim. So what is the Shimon answer to that hakish? Nocherik says in the pasuk Truma and Ma'aser together. It's a hakish. Says the Gemara, Shimon he the hakish last, even though he doesn't hold of the hakish. Simcha mia michtav ksivu, but it says in Torah simcha. It says in Torah samach machal. You have to be happy when you bikurim. So even though there's no hakish, but at the end of the day it says you have to be happy if you have to be happy when you bikurim. So how can Shimon say that you could eat bikurim when you're eating if it's impossible for you to be happy? Answers the Gemara. It doesn't mean that when you eat bikurim you have to be happy. What it means is that the bikurim have to be brought in a time that is a happy time. What is the time that is a happy time? It has to be brought around Sukkot's time. From Shavuos until the Tnak, when you bring bikurim, from Shavuos until Sukkot. The deadline to bring bikurim is until Sukkot. So then maybe you can bring bikurim, and the Kaira you're able to read the video that we say about bikurim. If you bring bikurim after Sukkot until Chanukah, which is too late, maybe okay, you only bring it, but you do not read, because you do not read the video because it's not as man simcha. So even though bikurim has to be brought in, as man simcha has to be brought in a time which is simcha, but that's on a general din. It doesn't mean that if you personally are in a bad state because someone passed away, it doesn't mean that you cannot eat bikurim. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabban. Now we're going to speak about the lechem eini. What does lechem eini mean? Tana Rabban says in a brayso lechem eini. It says in the Torah that matzah has to be lechem eini, a poor man's bread. What does a poor man's bread mean? It means prat lachalut. It means number one that the wheat, the matzah when it's cooked, there used to be a way that before they grind the wheat, we think mentioned before they grind the wheat, they used to soak it in hot water, and it used to enhance the quality of the wheat. So says the Gemara, that's not called lechem eini. Lechem eini means that it's a poor man's bread. A poor man doesn't soak his wheat inside water, and therefore the matzah cannot be, the wheat cannot be soaked inside water. Ola ashisha, another way we see that matzah has to be called lechem eini is that the matzah cannot be ashisha. What is ashisha? Sorry, ashisha means a big matzah, meaning extra big, a chashira matzah, a big size matzah. It says in Gemara further, maybe if it has to be a poor man's bread, then it has to be like what we call black bread. It has to be disgusting, dirty, sour. Matzahs. We have extra words in Torah. It says matzahs. The extra words in Torah teach us even though matzah is called lechem eini, it doesn't have to be the worst bread in town. It has to be a regular poor man's bread. What does it mean? Afilu matzah shal shleima. Even a matzah that Shlomo Melech served by Suda Shlomo, matzah Shlomo Melech served by Suda. And Rashi brings down that Shlomo Melech was monig. Shlomo Melech used to have pleasurable food. So even if it's a matzah that Shlomo Melech would serve on his meal, it's kosher. Because it says matzah extra few times in Torah says matzah. If it's even if a matzah from Shlomo Melech is kosher, what does lechem eini mean? As the Gemara prat means that the matzah cannot be visibly, or during the process of the matzah cannot be visibly extra enhanced, or in the process when you made it, you soaked the wheat, which makes the process extra enhanced. So the matzah has to be a regular matzah, even if it's a top quality matzah, it's still kosher as long as it's not visibly extra large or it was not made in a rich man's process. Says the Gemara, we said a few things. We said that matzah cannot be, we can't soak the wheat before you make the matzah. Another thing we said is you can't be yet to matzah shisha. Shisha we touched before from the Mefashim that shisha is a big matzah. Says the Gemara, my mashma shisha dishna chashusa. Who told you that shisha means a chashuva thing? Who told you that shisha means a chashuva matzah? The word shisha is not a Hebrew word. We don't know what it means. Says the Gemara, because it says in pasuk, David Melech, when he brought the Aron, he made a big feast, and it says in the pasuk, vayachalik l'cholam, and David Melech gave out to the people, l'chol hamein Yisrael, to the whole Jewish nation, mishva isha, from man to woman, leish chalas lechem achas. He gave to each man a loaf of bread. V'ashbar echad l'shisha achas. He gave them one ashisha. What's ashisha? Amar Rav Chanan bar Abba. Rav Chanan bar Abba says ishbar. Ashbar is a the word ashbar is a Rosh Tevis. What does it stand for? It stands for echad mishisha b'par. Echad mishisha b'par means that the measurement of a sixth of a full cow. So it means David Melech gave them a loaves of bread, which were the equivalent of a sixth of a full cow, which is a big measurement. What does ashisha mean in the pasuk? Ashisha says the Gemara, echad mishisha b'efa, a sixth of an ephah, which is a very big measurement. So here we see that ashisha Rosh Tevis for echad mishisha ephah, which is a very big measurement. That this pasuk, this says the Gemara, this pirush in the pasuk argues with the Shmuel. The Amar Shmuel, because Shmuel says ashisha. What does ashisha mean? Ashisha means garba the chamra. It means a drug of wine. See, because it says in pasuk in Yeshaya, that the people who love to drink ashisha and avim. Ashisha are drugs of wine. In Pesachim also brings out a lot of times that drugs of wine are called ashisha, but it has another pirush called ashisha is a ashisha, meaning it's a Rosh Tevis for a sixth of ephah. So from here we see that even though if the matzah is ashisha, meaning the matzah is visibly large, then it's not lechem eini. You cannot use it on Pesach. Okay, we're going to stop it. We're not using it Friday night. Obviously, you can use it after Pesach. We can't use it on Pesach one night. We're going to stop at base all the way at the bottom. We'll continue tomorrow with Hashem.